This is part of our monthly webinar series that we started last month when we welcomed past President Burchin Turkin to talk about AI in the hospitality industry. And this month, we really wanted to focus on, what clubs are doing during these summer months, which are often looked upon as down months, and see if there's anything that we could do to help you as in the clubs. Maybe spawn some new ideas and try to get at least a chain of new membership opportunities to open up, because we'll be doing the promotion that we did last year for Q4 this year as well. So it could be a great time to kind of amp up for that, and just talk about some ways on how you can really find a way to work with fellow Skålleagues. I've got some success stories that I could share on that. Would love to hear any that you may have. I know John has some as well, but it's kind of an open forum, round table, however way you would want to call it. All in Zoom call as we are here. So if you want to raise your hand, feel free to raise your hand. John and I are just going to chit chat and open it up and just kind of moderate and make sure we're not all talking over one another. But if I can lead off by saying I just got back today from a luncheon that Skal New York had in the city, in New York City, and it was really great, and it was great for many reasons. One being that they had not had a luncheon in a while, and they just recently changed the board a little bit to get it more operational, to get it more in tune. The previous board was overwhelmed, and the president actually got promoted in his job and just couldn't put the effort and time into it, so now they've corrected that, and this was kind of like their first time out, and here we are in June. But what I got from it was they were introducing 3 new members the month of June, which is very difficult, as we all know. And members were, one was an employee at Emirates airline. Another one was the general manager of a 3-star Michelin restaurant here in New York, and a tour operator. So we had a good range of individuals, 3 that they were, installing as new members with the pinning ceremony. And John Rusich, many of you may know, is the acting president for this year to help kind of steer the ship, in the right way and forward. And he's doing a great job. And they did it the old style of Skal. They did the pinning ceremony, the certificates, allowing each new member to talk about themselves and talk about what they want to get out of being a member. And they all mentioned that word networking, and networking is a word we all take for as what we talk about every day, but there is an art to it, and I know for me, if I can just go back about the luncheon, it was just great seeing everybody. And I do want to say whatever you say, you don't really need to have them every month, but I think you should, because it was just great being around the people and everybody talking and networking galore. It was great. So the atmosphere was there, the new members, etc. But something that I like to do, when I network for my business, I'm a marketing communications agency. So we mainly, in fact, 100%, we market international destinations to the North American market. So we're totally, promoting outbound, and what I do is I attend World Travel Market in London. I attend ITB in Berlin, and it's really an opportunity for me to meet fellow Skålleagues, because in Berlin we have an evening event there that Skal Berlin puts on, and there's about 100 of us there from all around the world, and in London the same thing. You know, the London Club puts on an event. We've got a good 75 to 80 that show up to that one. So I've managed to get to know fellow Skålleagues on that scale, you know, and get business from them. Right now, I have a cruise line that's a client of mine that I had met through Club Stockholm, and he actually is a member of, or he spends half his time in Miami. So Fernando, I think you may have met Hans Ruud before. Possibly he's attended a meeting here and there in Miami when he's in Miami. He lives in Miami half the time and then back in Sweden the other half. But I was introduced to him from the president of Skal Berlin, you know, and it was just due to me being face to face and attending these events and so forth. And I know others that do the same. And for those that may not look at it on the international side and look at it on the domestic side, it could be the same. You know, something that John and I both do is, you know, whenever we travel to another market, first thing we do is we find out if there's a club there, and then we reach out to the club and let them know that we're going to be there on so and so date. Would love to meet some of the members, and this is what I do. Maybe if there's a member that I would like to meet along these lines, and 9 out of 10 times that club member will assist and do the introduction, and it's up to you after that. And another thing you want to do, and I know that many, not you, but I know that many of our members don't do, is keep their profile up to date on the Skal International website. You do that because I get reached out to because I keep it very, very current, and you know, I put my photo there. I put my social media handles there, you know, for my company, etc. So those are, you know, just some examples of things that I do, you know, that I feel makes it a benefit for me to be a member of Skal. And you know, again, going back to keeping your profile up to date and networking as much as possible. John, you want to jump in and just kind of speak to some of that as well? But
yeah, absolutely. You know, let's talk about IPW. You know, it just happened in Chicago, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think anything that I'm aware of happened on behalf of Skal. But I can tell you, a couple of years ago when they were here in Orlando, we took the opportunity. We had people, members of our club, that were participating at IPW, and we did have an event that we hosted right up the street from the convention center, where we invited Skal members from all over the world, as well as prospective Skal members. And we had probably about 100 people that night. We literally hosted it at Icon Park, where we have the Orlando Eye. And so it was a great way to network and talk to prospective Skal members, as well as members that I hadn't seen. There was a gentleman from Japan who I used to work with in Orlando, and with the Hyatt, is now the president of Skal Japan. So it was great to see him. Next year, IPW is going to be in Fort Lauderdale, and you know, we are right now working on trying to get the club. You know, we had a Fort Lauderdale West Palm club up until a year or two ago, and unfortunately, from a logistical standpoint, it didn't work out. You know, with members flowing back and forth between West Palm and Fort Lauderdale, so we're focusing on trying to reestablish Fort Lauderdale. Hopefully, you know, we'll have that in place by this time next year. Certainly in time for IPW, and see if there's an opportunity for us to really kind of exploit the IPW and get some people involved, because we know that Fort Lauderdale is looking to roll out the red carpet, and there's a lot of key people, one of which who we're actually talking to right now about reestablishing the club there in Fort Lauderdale. But no question about it, you know, you can participate in the shows. Wayne, you were at a it was interesting. You came down to Miami a couple of months ago for a port. It was a meeting of all the different ports from all over the world. And Miami, and Fernando can talk about this as well, but Miami stepped up and hosted an event. We had several members attend from that particular conference. So definitely, you know, looking at those opportunities that tie in with the travel industry, and we need to be a part of that. So just to add to what you said, Wayne.
Yeah, yeah, and also something I'll share that I attend, and also that Club New York does. Again, I'm using Club New York, my club, as examples here. I want all of you to chime in here as well. Something that we would do even during COVID, when we were allowed to go out, um, is, we would do during these summer months, which again are normally down months. We would have events going on. We would have an event where we would all meet and go spend a day, at Ellis Island, and go see the Statue of Liberty and just spend the day together, have lunch together. Um, we listened to a presentation from the Parks Department that was there as well. They were hosting us. We had about 25 people attend that, and we also would do the Culinary Institute of America, which is located not too far from us. We would partner with Club Albany and turn that into an evening event. And we've done rooftop happy hours. We've done, a lot of stuff like that, a lot of cookouts. Our past presidents cookout is it's in May every year, and we get 75 people to attend, and a lot of them aren't members, but some of them are looking at being a member. In fact, the lady from Emirates Airlines today was at the past presidents this past May, the cookout, and she was like, okay, I think I'm going to. Sure, she did. We were actually acknowledging her as a new member. So things that you could do during your summer months, invite potential new members, get to know them, and network amongst each other that way, more on the social side and not so much on the B2B side, and although you want it to turn into B2B, and it normally does. I know
You know,
I'm sorry, go
no,
ahead,
go
Jeff.
ahead, Wayne. Sorry, I
No,
was going to say, and I just wanted to add to that again. I mentioned earlier Nora White, who is our vice president of Skål Orlando. She's on the call, and we had something a little bit different that we did last week for our June meeting. Nora, would you like to just share with everyone here what we did, which was a little bit out of the ordinary?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. We took the slow summer months as an opportunity to try something different that we haven't done before. I work for the iDrive district here in Orlando, and one of our projects is the public transportation on International Drive called the iRide Trolley Service. And I went around and asked 3 restaurants what kind of rate they can give us to host Orlando's top industry leaders, and 2 of them actually completely comped us. One of them did charge us, but that's where we had our meeting point and our ending toast. So that was understandable, but it was still a relatively inexpensive evening. But we met at one restaurant, then we all hopped on board the iRide trolley, and we took the VIP foodie tour over to a restaurant around the corner. We hopped in really quickly. I had a list of photos for people to take. They got a half of a drink, not a full drink, but they called it a sip and bite. So they had a miniature margarita and a bite of whatever that restaurant wanted to show off, which ended up being lobster rolls. We were not disappointed. And this also helped us to get some social media photos of our whole group together. So we took a lot of group photos in front of the trolley, in front of their selfie wall. As soon as we didn't stay at each location very long, 15, 20 minutes, 30 at the most. Then we hopped back on the trolley, went to the next location, the same ordeal. And then we wound up back at the first location and had our closing cocktail. And our group actually stayed around, where we ended up ordering pizza afterward because we were having so much fun and fellowship together. And, those who had to leave did, those who didn't. And it kind of created more of a family bonding moment for our Orlando club.
Yeah, great opportunity to really network because you're moving around. You're moving from one location to the next. You're getting on the trolley, so everyone was fully engaged with what was going on and one another, and it really was a cool way to kind of kick off the summer season. And one thing we're working on now, in not only Orlando but all the clubs in the state of Florida, is we're working on a retreat, a little fun retreat that we're going to do September 12th through the 14th here in Orlando. We selected Orlando because it's central, of course, to the 5 clubs that are here in Florida. And we are looking at participation from all 5 clubs. Hopefully we'll get 75, 80 people coming for this. But the plan is to come in on a Friday, have dinner, again, very casual setting. The next day, have a little round table or informal discussion for a couple hours and share about best practices, what's going on with each of the clubs. And then we're going to do some fun activities in the afternoon, maybe a little competition there, followed by a dinner show in the evening, and then we all head out the next day. But again, just another way to kind of bookend the summer with something a little bit unique and an opportunity to really get to know your Skal brothers and sisters from the other clubs that are in reach. And we did something like this last year with Tampa. Tampa and Orlando got together, and we did we did as a weekend, and we did it at a golf resort. Those that wanted to play golf played, and then those that wanted to go to the attractions could do that. But it was just a great opportunity to bring the Tampa and the Tampa Bay, I should say, Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, and the Orlando area together. So that's just another thing that I wanted to throw out and share with everyone here.
And we actually did something similar for the Northeastern clubs, and it was brought up and actually produced the first one from Club Philadelphia. Mariska was very involved in it, and also Christopher, who's on the call here, very involved in it. I think we started it last year. Was it last year, right? In April of last year. And Christopher, Mariska, if you wanted to speak about that, feel free to. But right now it's grown into a full-fledged annual Northeast 2 to 3 day event that allows us to kind of talk about our region and what we can do for networking opportunities and initiatives for Skal and all the clubs pertaining to the Northeast alone.
Thanks, Wayne. Yes, it really started, the idea was generated at the tail end of our 70th anniversary celebration, where we had so many members come to Philadelphia to celebrate. And then from that next morning, we created this opportunity for us to all come together and create a regional event. From there, Chris really took this by the reins and created the event that we had. That's now something that each of our clubs are going to host moving forward. And it is sharing, our success stories, our challenges, and how we can plan to be stronger together within our region. Chris, do you want to speak to that? Because you really led that great effort.
Yeah, so we had as Mariska said, we had a great kickoff in Philadelphia. And I just want to also mention that John Rusick was also kind of the backbone and very much behind the regional event, as was Wayne and Mark Ergang at this point. Everyone's behind this. We're 8 clubs that that pulled together. We had an event at the American Dream in northern New Jersey in East Rutherford. We had about, I'm going to say 25 folks attend the initial dinner, and about 15 that stayed for the board meeting, which was a 3-hour business meeting to talk about synergies and ideas of what we can do to further grow our clubs and support one another. Our next event is going to be in October, and that's going to be at the property that Mark Ergang manages. It's the Marriott JFK Airport, and that's going to be October 28 and 29. So we're looking at programming. We're looking at expanding the types of subjects that we're talking about, and we've looked at bringing in speakers and also partnering and pairing with other clubs that might want to hold an event during the regional event that we're doing. And that includes some universities which we're targeting for expanding young Skal. So lots of opportunities.
And we share our events, so we're not that far. It is it's Philly, New Jersey, further up, but we do share our event schedule so we can attend it if possible.
That's excellent.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I was just going to introduce myself, Bruce Whitaker out of Colorado. And I wanted to point out that one of our newest members is on the Zoom here, David there. So glad to see him.
Welcome, David.
We also hosted a reception when IPW was in Denver, and we tied it in with our anniversary. I think it was our 65th at that point. So that went over really well. June, we did a reception, which is unusual for us to do. And even though it was small, I think we picked up 2 new members at that event. So that's nice. And we always do a wine tasting and barbecue during the summertime, July or August. And I'm afraid this year is going to be so popular that's going to overrun this member's house. But that's always gone over really well. And then September, we're going to do another reception, try to make a membership thing and have a Denver International speaker at that event. So we're trying some different things and to keep us growing.
It's great.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, that's exactly what we want to talk about in here, you know, from clubs and what they're doing, you know, because it's, you know, again, it's the downtime of the year, the summer months, you know, but there are things that you can do, especially prepping new members, potential new members for the upcoming, you know, September through December campaign that we're going to be promoting again this year, which is basically any new member that joins Skal during that time period. Those months are free. You know, they sign up in September and their membership is good through December 31, 2026. So they're actually, you know, paying for 12 months and getting 16 months of membership, you know, for the price of 12, which is great, you know. So anything that you can do. I know Club New Jersey, they're not on the call here, at least I don't see them here. They do an annual boat trip, which is coming up in July. And then they do an annual cookout, which is coming up in August. And they do that very, very well. And it's kind of bring your own BYOB and it's great networking and great food and great hanging out with fellow Skålleagues. And you see a lot of potential new members attend those as well.
You know, something else that I'll add, we haven't done it in a couple of years, but we've done a 9-hole golf tournament where, again, not 18, but, you know, let's do it in the afternoon. Let's do it when tee times are a little bit cheaper. And let's do it in conjunction with happy hour. We've done this a couple of years, and some monies we raised went to local charities that we aligned ourselves with. But it's something that worked very well, and we need to get back on track with that. But literally 9 holes of golf where you can, and again, a lot of people love to play golf in our industry. So an opportunity to maybe invite some of those potential candidates that you're looking at, talking to them about joining Skal and giving them an opportunity to kind of network, doing it in the afternoon. So let's say you tee it up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So you put in a day of work, then you slip out at 3, you play a 2-hour 9-hole tournament, and then you gather for drinks afterwards. And so those people that maybe don't play golf can catch up and do some networking there. So again, it works in Florida. We can play any time of the year. We're fortunate, you know, with the weather. It's actually cheaper for us though to do it in the summer when it's a little bit hotter. Of course, we got to dodge some raindrops here this time of the year, but certainly up north in the Midwest, Northeast, West area, West, great opportunity, something else to consider. And it worked very well for us. And even if that charity isn't identified as a local, the Floorman Volkert Fund is obviously a great fund that we all align ourselves with through Skal, and an opportunity to, you know, if you don't have a local charity, then you know, don't donate that money through, you know, to the fund to help other Skal members in time of need. And last year with some of the storms in Florida, we were the fund was able to help some Skal members over in the Tampa area. So
If anybody wants to share any activities or you know, opportunities that you've done at your club, please do. We're here. This is very informal. We're just chit-chatting, and we can do a toast later if you want.
Hey, it's Richard. How y'all doing?
Hey, Richard, how are you?
the man behind the
Good.
iPhone.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, John, you had mentioned it, but we wanted the event in September in Florida, in Orlando, to be open to all clubs, and we've got a really good program. We just went through. It's going to be really cheap, like $109 a night at the Castle Hotel. So if anyway, in our food and beverage is going to be, it's going to be a very cheap weekend. So if anybody's interested in coming down, just let us know and we'll get you the information, because it is going to be a great event. And a lot of people are coming from different parts of the country. I think there will be an Art Alice sighting in Orlando. So that's good.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Richard. I completely overlooked that, so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Yeah, make sure Art brings some blank checks, Richard.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he does use Venmo, so that's good too.
And another thing that we do here in New York, we partner with the local chapter of ASTA, and they do a summer outing each year, and it's July 24th this year, and they have roughly 175 people attend their gala. The CEO of ASTA, Zane Kirby, normally attends from Washington, D.C., and we're going to have Andreas Hayes, our president-elect for 2026, attend this July. We're going to have those two sitting at the same table, and see what we can do synergy-wise for both clubs, and see how we can grow together and do more joint activities, not just in the New York market, but in other markets throughout the U.S., because they've got a lot of chapters, just as we have a lot of clubs, and it was interesting because we did attend an ASTA chapter meeting a couple of weeks ago, and there must have been 7 or 8 Skålleagues that were there that were members of ASTA that were also, members of Skal as well. So there's some synergy there with looking at what some of the other clubs are doing. They're all in the same position that we're in. They want to grow. They want to continue to grow their new members and retain their current members and get younger and all of that, so why not share and try to do it together? We have more of a voice when we do things like that, instead of being siloed, or being looked upon as competitors, although we are, but we don't have to be. Please chime in if anybody has some ideas or some examples.
Yeah. What's going on in your backyard with your club? One other thing I'll throw out, we also do informally here is we call it travel industry breakfast, and we do it once a month. We gather at a local restaurant here that is central to everyone. So we're able to bring in anywhere from 15 to 25 people, and not all of them are Skal, but I would say probably 80 to 90% are Skal members. So again, another opportunity for us just to kind of get together, break some bread, and chat informally about what's going on in our personal lives. And also, if we get an opportunity to plug Skal, we'll do that. So we've had members join us. We've had prospective members that literally have heard about Skal at the breakfast that have come to a meeting. So that's just something else, an opportunity to really stay in touch. Orlando is a very large industry. It's a very large industry here with all the theme parks and hotels and the convention center, but it's very small in many respects. So we get together and just share what's going on in our personal lives and in our professional lives, and it's a lot of fun, and it really does help keep the Skal name out there, and Skal always comes up at these events. So whether it's golf, again, the breakfast, heck, we even have a little poker that we play once a month, and you get 7 or 8 Skal members playing there. So again, just a lot of things to kind of keep the networking going and build the camaraderie and create a little bit of visibility about what's going on with Skal in your backyard. So
Yeah.
again, just something else to throw out.
Yeah, and before we get to Michael here, just real quick, Club Long Island, they have an annual Oktoberfest that they put on, and they also do a lot of wine tastings during the summer months throughout Long Island. Michael, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thanks, Wayne. Mike Kaplan, San Francisco Club, and my friend Andre is on board as well. One thing we've done in the past, actually last year we didn't do it, but that's been very successful, as we've gone to baseball games, both the Giants and, it used to be Oakland A's. They're not, they're over in Sacramento now. But just depending, of course, on how the team is doing, you can rent, VIP boxes and suites, catered or not, fairly reasonable cost. And it's a great venue to bring in potential new members. And on a weekend is perfect. I think our attendance has ranged probably around 30, maybe 35 people. Pretty successful. Last year, actually, we did a boat cruise on San Francisco Bay. So yeah, just wanted to
Nice.
share that.
Nice.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Guys, just again, a reminder, if you haven't heard, we had our vote last week. It's 2 weeks now, and we do have a vendor on board to build the website. We're very excited. I hope everyone here is. It's been a long time coming. The company is called Realign, and they are ready to go. We are working on our end to, with the board, and I'll throw this out to everyone here on the call. If you haven't had a chance to look at our website, look at it. We've made a lot of updates to it that were much needed with the old one because it had to be done. And when you're trying to sell membership to a prospective member, the first thing they're going to do is look at the website. So I would ask all of you to look at the website, and if you have any feedback on what's missing, what should we have that maybe we've overlooked, or what is maybe not necessary, but we're going through that drill right now on our end, and we want to hand this over to the web developers at Realign and give them a good foundation to start working. We know we're going to make changes. We're going to tweak certain things, but I would ask everyone here on this call to please look at the website and reach out to me or Wayne on your feedback. We would value that feedback. So
Yeah. And a couple more things on the website. Great point, John, is we're obviously going to be redesigning, redeveloping, relaunching. Hope to have this done within 8 or 9 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks in that time zone. So we'll be ready for the new campaign coming out in September. But also, if you don't have a website, or if you want to have a better website, we've got it contracted to offer either building a website for your club, or building a landing page that will be hosted on the Skål USA website, depending on what your budget allows for and what you want out of it. So for the smaller clubs that do not have a website and want to have more than just a Facebook page, it's a great opportunity for very, very little money to have a landing page. And again, no hosting fees because it'll be hosted on the Skål USA website.
great point. One other thing too to look at when you visit the site, look at the homepage. We placed one of our newest members on that homepage. His name is Liam Brown, and he's vice president or president of Marriott North America. We're just so excited to have him on board. But what a great opportunity to have the president of North America Marriott as a member. He'll be a member out of the Washington, D.C. club. So if you've got prospective members that are aligned with Marriott, any of their brands, great opportunity to share that, get them thinking about, wow, if it's good enough for Liam Brown, maybe it's good enough for me to take a look at. So but take a look at that. There is a link, and you can click on that link and listen to a little engagement Mark Ergang, our president, had with Liam during NASC in May, and it's a great insight into how Marriott is operating, how they're looking at things like AI and where the future lies for them. So great introspective view on Marriott from Liam Brown. And again, just thinking, hey, Marriott, Liam Brown, possible opportunities in your backyard for a Marriott director of sales or GM.
Yep. Anything else, anyone? Yes, Christopher.
I'll say one other thing, just about the regional effort. I think we're fortunate to have so many clubs within short amount of distance. But just by talking to one another and actually starting to post more information collectively about all the events that are going on in those 8 clubs, we're finding out where some clubs might need assistance. And for example, Baltimore is struggling at the moment. So if some of us can choose to travel and be in certain locations at different times for business and attend and support another club, I think that's another great opportunity for networking and just being supportive. So I would encourage, if it's Florida, then maybe it's a Florida regional and help Fort Lauderdale, get back together and something along those lines. Just an idea. I know the Midwest is also talking about doing things regionally. Just throwing that out there.
Thanks for sharing that. We did last year's Crab Fest. We did donate a vacation package in Orlando to that endeavor, and of course, we purchased tickets as well at NASC on that. So that's a great point. So thanks for bringing that up. Kathy, we got Kathy Hernandez on here from Skal Orlando. She is our PR wizard. Kathy, are you still on?
I'm here. I'm here.
Kathy's amazing. I just want to brag about Kathy. Again, delighted to have Maura, Kathy, and Richard on from our club. But Kathy handles our PR, and she's phenomenal. And she manages about at least a half a dozen, Kathy, accounts in the industry. Again, just is on top of what's going on. Anything you want to share, Kathy, on from your perspective? Again, so delighted to have you on board, but anything you want to share or bring up about what we're talking about today?
It's great to be on the call with everyone. And I've been a Skal member for over 10 years. Enjoy it socially, business-wise. I have so many members I do business with now. So I just love the organization. What we've been talking about, different experiences to offer, and especially during the summer months. And, Nora and John touched upon some of those. And we have another one coming up later this year. We have a member who is a tour operator and a DMC, Rich Bradley. And he's going to coordinate a Winter Park boat tour, walking tour of Winter Park, and then a dinner. So I know everyone's really excited about that because Winter Park was just featured on the Today Show when Epic Universe opened here, and the Today Show crew was here. Al Roker is hosts that third hour of the Today Show. So they Visit Orlando had him in the middle of Central Park and Winter Park. So Winter Park was just broadcasts all across the country for that. So I think we're also excited that our members are going to, do that. The boat tour goes through some chains of lakes with some mansions and homes owned by Orlando Magic players and artists. And so, what everybody's talking about is reinventing or doing something different. I'm real proud of our board and our members working together to come up with these new ideas.
Thank you, Kathy. Great. Thanks for sharing that about the Orlando tours. Very exciting organization and a nice twist. They also do a Christmas boat experience in December. So right after Thanksgiving, going back on those lakes, and it's amazing to see the Christmas lights and how it lights up these lakes, this chain of lakes in Winter Park. So thank you for sharing that, Kathy.
Sure.
And next month we'll have Barry Bigger. He'll be talking about the bylaws and also the field guide that he's going to be distributing to all of the club boards to make it a little bit more easier and more fun to read and follow, instead of it just sounding like, oh my gosh, it's bylaw time. We're going to try to make it a little bit more fun and make it easier to have access for your clubs in order for each club to follow the bylaws and be a larger one instead of us branching out individually. That'll be in July. I think it's July 24th, about the same time, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
We'll send out some information on that starting.
Yeah, July 24th at 4:00.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fun. We're going to make sure it's fun and it's not going to be dry. So it's going to be very informative, but we'll add some fun to it. So mark your calendar.
Yep. And that's it. I mean, we don't want to sit here just talk and talk and talk, but you know, we wanted to, you know, brainstorm and show and tell and talk about what some of the things that some of our clubs are doing that are successful, that are fun, that are engaging, that keeps everybody interactive.
Mhm.
And we've been kicking around a name for this, you know, again, you know, with a name like Wayne and a name like John, you know, the John Wayne moniker, you know, kind of pops up there. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about the John Wayne show every month, but just something as an attention getter. But no, we really appreciate everyone's participation, and please, you know, if you have something you want to share later on that you know, kind of comes to you after this call, just send Wayne or myself a note on that. Again, the website certainly, and anything else you're doing maybe on social media. You know, we are also, I will say this, that we are also in the process of updating our social media side. We're working literally looking at 4 vendors right now, and we've made a selection. I don't know if it's official yet, Wayne, but we are going to really ramp it up on the social media side. So as we add the new website, social media will be ramped up, and we'll be humming along on both sides there. So if you have anything you want to mention, or again, thoughts on the social media along with the website, please let us know what that is.
For sure.
Great, you guys. And
Right.
yeah, thank
So
you.
if nobody has anything else, you know, continue on with your busy days and have a great evening. And thank you for joining us. Again, this was very informal and more of a chit chat than anything else. So we really appreciate everybody that's here. Shall we do a toast?
Let's do it. I've got my
Thank you, gentlemen. And
Let me see.
John, I'm looking forward to the September event.
Charles, great to see you on the call.
Always great to see you.
Excellent, excellent. So is there anyone here who would like to lead the toast? Let's not all jump out at once.
Charles, you spoke up. Do you want to? Would you like to lead the toast?
Sure, I will. To fellow Skålleagues everywhere,
Fellow
Colleagues everywhere.
happiness,
Happiness.
good health,
Good health.
Health.
friendship,
Friendship.
long life,
Long life.
all.
Skål.
Thanks, Charles.